Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social, Season 3, Episode 6. I'll tell you what, I wish it was Episode 5, because I could have then...
Oh, that would have been good.
...gone with the 5-star performance, but it just didn't work. But anyway, it's me, Ryan, with Ben. Mate, what a game yesterday. By far, probably one of the best games in memory of all time, to be honest. We're not even just in the Premier League, not even just under Potter.
What, better than Man United?
All time, in Brighton history. It's not better than that, but it's right up there. I mean, for Brighton to score 5 goals in the Premier League, to come back from twice being knocked back from 2 pretty poor defensive mistakes, but overall, the performance second half was some of the best football that I've ever seen the Brighton team put together.
Jesus.
Ben, mate, how were you feeling yesterday? Because run it from the beginning. What were you doing that morning? What were you doing by the evening? How was the day?
I was working. So I was working from home, reporting on all the sport.
Not what I was expecting.
So I was doing a 10:30 till 7:30. So I wasn't at the game. It was also my brother's birthday, so we had literally the whole family around whilst watching the game. So I was invested in the game as it was enough, but then also having to kind of have my work mode on at the same time was, balancing it was quite stressful. But the fact that we won made it all the better. Obviously, when they scored literally after 50 seconds, I was like, well, here we go. We're going to break Leicester's duck of having like their worst Premier League start ever. And they're going to go on and beat us. Daka and Iheanacho, I was like, he loves scoring against us, Iheanacho now, doesn't he? Hopefully that doesn't become too much of a regular occurrence, but he seems to get goals against us.
If we can score 5 last season, I probably wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, that's true. If we score more than the other team, it doesn't matter. But I remember obviously last year he scored against us at the King Power Stadium. And do you remember in the League Cup as well? Was it the season before when he scored in the 95th minute? When we just forgot to mark him. Yeah. So he loves scoring against us. But anyway, that's the only negative really of the game, isn't it? We were unbelievable, and we turned it around, which just shows, like Brendan Rodgers says, it shows great character, and we showed great character.
It does. I don't even think it's just character. It's just the whole setup is so structured and so fluid, and the team just works so well. And I think this is a bit of a debate that was going on, because I don't think we filmed apart from that live stream after the transfer deadline day. So I want to just touch on a little bit of the deadline day stuff. Obviously, we did sign Billy Gilmour, who does look like, in my opinion, I think he's a great signing. I was watching him pinging the ball around with Alzate at half time, and it was a joy to watch. They were just, the technical ability on the kid is very clear to see, that he was controlling it with all parts of his foot, launching the ball 40 yards up in the air. It was great to watch. But a bit of like Maradona video where he launched the ball so many times, keeps kicking it in the air. But no, it was great to watch. But
just mentioning Alzate there, Ryan, as well. He was meant to be off, wasn't he? He was meant to get a loan to West Brom, and then it fell through.
It was him and Alzate, actually. It was Alzate and Gilmour, I should say, that was pinging the ball around to each other, which is quite funny. It seems that we've got quite a good bond on that bench, actually, with like Van Heck and Gilmour. I mean, even Colwill and Tarek Lamptey, both from Chelsea. We've got like all the same sort of age group of players on that bench, and plus obviously the Chelsea links as well, which helps for the bonding and everything. You can definitely tell there's like a good vibe around those boys, because they're just living the dream at the end of the day. Well, what I wanted to say is about Andy Naylor was said about sort of the transfers and the striker situation. Now, obviously, for Brighton to go and score 5 after fans are calling in for a striker is quite funny, really. It's how things work out. But
it's annoying in a weird way.
I think though, in a funny way, I think it sort of backs up the point that a lot of our fans are actually saying, is that we're not even looking for that goal scoring for. We're looking for just an extra bit of backup for Welbeck, right? And that helps me lead on perfectly for how good Welbeck was again, and not scoring any goals yesterday, but being instrumental in that attack. He was so good in that number 9 role. How he led the attack from the front, really linked up the midfield really well, brought the best out of Alexis McAllister, Leandro Trossard, etc. But Ben, what do you think on not only just Welbeck, but sort of that striker situation? Are you concerned if Welbeck does get injured, or are you just happy to trust the process?
I mean, obviously at the end of the day, you have to trust the process, but there's still a bit of me that's disappointed in the fact that we haven't got another striker in. And I get it. People are going to be saying, well, you can't just go and buy a 20-goal striker, especially for a team of Brighton stature, or even a Big Six club.
Want, is it?
Well, no, that's not what we want. No, but it's just like, now I know Danny Welbeck's unbelievable, but it's just putting faith in him to last even until January. But I imagine we'll probably get to January and still not buy a first team striker. A lot will probably change until then because against Fulham it's all doom and gloom. And now we've just scored 5 goals against Leicester and we're back. We're 4th of the table, like 2 points off top or something like that. But I'm still disappointed that we didn't get back up for Danny because, I mean, we say trust the process, but can we trust Danny Welbeck to stay fit until January or beyond that? It's a very, very tough question because I think even just before, like a few games ago, he hadn't had a run of like 10 games for the past like 2 years of his season or his career, sorry. So to have faith in him to last until January and beyond the World Cup I know he's not going to play in the World Cup, which will probably benefit him. But that's a lot of faith to put in his legs, unfortunately.
I agree, but to talk on the positive side, because Welbeck, as I say, was absolutely fantastic, as was pretty much everyone yesterday. Unfortunately, though, we do have to start with a bit of negativity again, because we did concede first. We did actually go a goal down, and as you mentioned, it was Iheanacho that got another goal against Brighton. Seemingly loves to score against us, and to be honest, I mean, the first minute it was really quite weird. I mean, I was saying Leicester looked so weird and so rubbish, yet scored their only 2 chances of that first half, and they were well taken goals. Solly March sort of got bodied off the ball by.
That was what I was going to make a point of, Solly.
No. Yeah, I was going to lead on to it. I don't think that was a foul. I don't know about you.
No.
I think it was just a good use of his body. I don't think it was. And Solly just sort of, the only really bad thing he did all game actually was actually give away that goal.
That's the point I want to make. Like, that's got to be one of the most embarrassing things that can happen as a footballer. Just getting bodied off the ball like that, completely fair and square. And I feel like if that had happened to me in a football match, I'd be playing on my mind. I'd be like, I've just been absolutely embarrassed here, like straight away. And it'll be, maybe it might take a little while for your head to get up and like you pick up your performance again. But I mean, that happened to Solly. We conceded from it. He must have been gutted, but then he literally turned it on straight away, didn't he? It was one of his best performances in the Brighton shirt for sure. Like, we haven't seen that for a long time. He's shown glimpses this season of being at his best. And to yesterday, he was phenomenal. Like, even that Leicester fan in that video on Twitter was saying that it was his playground. He was like Di Maria. He was so good. Yeah. And I really wish he got that goal for Brighton, but obviously it went down as that Luke Thomas own goal. But I was like, oh my God, he scored.
It was funny,
and then
actually.
Literally 2 seconds later, it's like, oh, that was an own goal. Brilliant. He can't buy a goal, that bloke.
Yeah. And in that podcast, literally the last podcast we did, we were saying how probably March doesn't contribute with enough goals. He's been a very decent player for us over the last couple of years, particularly really grown into his role. Looks a lot more mature now, and definitely started the season strongly. But we were saying he just needs more goals to add to his name, because he really, for an out and out right winger, if you're looking at his stats, he really doesn't contribute to much. Then he finally gets the one chance he gets, and it goes down as an own goal. But he was a nuisance, particularly in that first half. He really was all over the place. I mean, he had, well, not only their defence on strings, to be honest. He was coming inside. Actually, was quite good at that sort of breaking down that midfield as well. He caused problems all that first half. And Enoch Mwepu, I think, him and March sort of linked up a little bit, because I was only saying earlier that March yesterday, actually, because I live streamed Talk Seagulls because none of you boys are available, but I was just saying about how Mwepu, did he have a good game, or did he have a good half, or did he have a shaky first 20? I don't know how to really
because we were saying we was very half and half, innit?
He's either fantastic or he's just like not. He doesn't really have that middle ground, which is really strange. But again, he sort of had a similar performance yesterday, and I think that first half I put on at half time saying that it's just been a weird game. We weren't bad, and they were really bad, but yet we'd still somehow conceded 2 goals. And I think it just purely goes down to defensive errors, right? Because I suppose it was either a bit of quality from them in Tielemans and Daka. We'll get onto their second goal first. Tielemans and Daka, it was a great ball from Tielemans, read it well. Daka took it very well. Dunk was left on his bum weirdly, which is strange to see Dunk like that.
It was a shame, wasn't it? I feel like whenever like conversations about Dunk getting for England, or Dunk being one of the best centre backs of the league, or the best English centre back, whenever those conversations come up, he then, unfortunately for him, drops some clangers. Like obviously an own goal against Fulham, and then obviously that one where he tried to clear it, and maybe it was quite difficult on him, and he wanted to do some sort of spectacular clearance, but missed it, I feel like those things happen as soon as we start talking about Dunk for England and shit like that. He then does that. I don't know whether it's just a coincidence or maybe he feels the pressure. Maybe he's like, "Cool, I am performing like one of the best centre backs in the league at the moment." And then he knows people watching him, and he tries to do something spectacular, and it doesn't pay off. But yeah, I mean, that again, another mistake for Dunk. But I mean, he brought himself up, and luckily we didn't concede any more.
So I think now we can get out of the negativity. We've had our little rant about the 2 goals, which I don't think is unreasonable. You know, it's not unfair to say about the 2 goals because
Dunk's still the best centre back in the league, hands down.
He probably is, and I don't think it's unfair to start talking about goals that we've conceded, and because a lot of people will say, we just won 5-2, cheer up a bit. That's fine, but we also have to analyse the things that we also did wrong. But now, from here on inwards, there's nothing to complain about at all. We were absolutely, from after 2-2, fantastic. That half-time, whatever Potter said to those players, worked a charm. And I think
he must have got a light bulb out, like learned from Mikel Arteta and just got done something spectacular.
Something like that, yeah. That's my watch on the play.
I would love to see what Graham Potter does. Or maybe he just does nothing. Do you reckon he's one of those managers that just does nothing, doesn't want to affect them at all, and he just says, just keep playing the way you're going to play and it will happen? I feel like
I
he's
reckon
one of them
he'll
guys.
shout.
Do you?
Yeah, mate, you got to shout. I mean, you got to get the reaction of these players. Surely, I don't know. I think so anyway, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see when the All or Nothing comes out in the year. No, what I was going to say was second goal for us. Actually, we didn't mention our second goal, which was what was that? What was our second?
That was
goal?
Caicedo, wasn't it?
Caicedo, yeah, it was Caicedo. We were 1-0 down at that point. Then we came back 2-1. Caicedo took his shot very well.
Yeah.
Although it must be said, Danny Ward in goal, he may as well have not been there. Every single shot.
We spoke about him in the last
episode. He was
episode,
impossible to deal with.
I said I wasn't impressed with him, and
Mate,
I was just to correct him.
Genuinely one of the worst
Jack was
goalkeepers
like, no, he's a good keeper, isn't he? And I was like, nah, he ain't.
No.
He is not. Everyone put him in their FPL team, didn't they? At the beginning of the season, thought he'd be a bargain at 4.5 mil, but he's proven not to be a bargain.
No,
and he made a few clangers as well, didn't he? But honestly, so obviously Maddison gets dispossessed, and he was probably one of their better players. Yeah. And Wepu turned into prime Yaya Toure, drove at him.
He actually did.
And actually laid it off perfectly for Caicedo. I was going shoot. And then he passes it to the right. I thought, oh God, we've screwed this up here. But yeah, like you said, Caicedo took that like a striker, buried it in like the left-hand side of the goal. It was such a good finish for that.
Good power on the strike, which was good to see, and very reassuring that
tough angle as well.
Tough angle, and we said on that podcast, actually on that live stream, I think it was, we said we need more goals from midfield. Well, we certainly got that yesterday. Alexis McAllister's hat-trick, and Caicedo with another goal, Wepu with another assist. And I don't know, there's just something very good about the midfield at the moment. I don't see any real holes in that midfield, which is crazy to say, considering we have lost Basuma and even Kukurea, who helped out in midfield last season at times. He sort of assisted that left side, and it's just brilliant. I put it on my Instagram as well. It's just like, it's just brilliant. Everything about that team at the minute is just brilliant. And getting on to that second half, I went to the toilet, and I never go to the toilet during a game. And I thought, I'm going to go now because it's going to be empty. Just as the team came out, because it's always full and I can't bother to wait. Yeah. And I went in there. It was empty. Went to the toilet. It took too long because there was just too many people in annoying spaces. If you're a boy, you'll understand and relate. And I was sort of just waiting for the right opportunity. Finally got the right opportunity. Hear the fans go absolutely mental. Ran back outside. And then, so everyone around me is like, oh, Ryan, you missed it. I was like, yeah, I did miss it. What happened? And McAllister apparently scored one of the best goals ever at the Amex. My dad said it was one of the best goals he's ever seen, and I was like, oh, for God's sake. And I thought he was joking, but he actually wasn't. And everyone around me was like, my God, you've just missed the world.
The stadium must have erupted because it was unbelievable. Like, it was a rocket. It was a rocket. Unbelievable.
And to then take, was it 4 minutes and 22 seconds or something like that? And then finally disallow it for, we're talking an inch, not even an inch, a millimetre of a toenail offside from Enoch Wepu, who did swing for the ball,
but didn't even touch
the ball, and didn't really.
Their defender would have cleared it anyway, wouldn't he?
He was going to head the ball.
It's not like he was going to head it towards goal. He was going to head it toward out anyway. So why has it affected the defender at all? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, this is the point, Ben, that I wanted to really mention on this podcast, because even though we won 5-2, I'm still here with my head hot over VAR and the referees and the officials in this league.
Alexis is robbed of a hat-trick, mate.
unbelievably incompetent. And this isn't the only thing in this game, or even in the Premier League this weekend. There's been some absolute clangers across the whole of the Premier League.
It's got to be one of the worst weekends for VAR. It's got to be one of the worst.
And
I'm trying to look for the quote that Graham Potter said, because he said he went into the, which I feel like is
is this real?
Uncharacteristic of Graham Potter to go and complain at a referee, but apparently this is, did you read it? And
I've seen it. I think I retweeted it, but I wasn't sure if it was fake. I thought it was fake.
Yeah, apparently Graham Potter went into the officials' room after the game and was like, "What the hell? Like, why was that disallowed?" Just to get some answers. And apparently VAR room was saying that they saw some shadows, questionable shadows, and I think they just had to make like a guess, didn't they? Did they essentially tell him if it's real? If it's real, then surely an official wouldn't say they had to make a guess. That's not sure. That's not nothing.
We've all seen. I don't know if you have seen actually, but I'm sure you probably have the video of John Moss not too long ago. I say not too long ago. It's probably a good 3 or 4 years ago now. Liverpool against Tottenham. In football it is a long time. But I think it was Liverpool Tottenham, and it was that game when Wanyama scored the absolute worldie.
Oh, the rocket! Yeah.
And it was a bit of a end-to-end game, and I think they gave a penalty, but they recorded John Moss coming up to the fourth official or the liner or something, and. This is before VAR existed, so it must have been a good 4 years ago, actually, sorry. And they said, I don't know, actually it might have been with VAR, because he said, do you want me to review it? And he said, no, I'm just going to give the penalty. But he didn't know what happened, and you can find it on Google.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was VAR. I think that was that was pre-VAR, I think.
Well, even still, it goes to show that these referees actually just do make a guess, which is worrying to me, because you've got the technology there. And I don't know how he could have gone over to that monitor for 5 minutes and still rejected the whole goal, which didn't really have too much of a problem with the phase in play. The defender, as you mentioned, as we both mentioned, he was going to header the ball away anyway. And I think Troy Deeney said it on Match of the Day too, said that you could tell by his reaction that he knew it was a bad header away. He knew that he had messed up by when Alexis McAllister struck it into the top bin, because you could tell he was like, oh my God, he knew that he had messed that up. So I don't think he didn't go and complain about Mwepu.
Did you see Mbermo's goal for Brentford? It's essentially the same thing. I'll send it as well. So the ball came over, was going over the top. Tony tried to head the ball, but it literally skimmed his head. It didn't even touch his head. So because he wanted to flick it onto Mbermo, but the ball still went to Mbermo. The defenders thought Tony would get head to it, and then he was through and goal and scored. But that was given, even though Tony interfered with the play. It's just again, it goes back to that thing: is there's no consistency at all.
This is the trouble. That there's no consistency, and the claim of clear and obvious doesn't actually really seem to exist, and also two, it's a subjective claim anyway. Because if I was to say clear and obvious of what I think, it's going to be different to what you think, and it's going to be different to what someone over there thinks, and it's going to be different to what John in the pub thinks. So I don't get where the clear and obvious thing is, because what's clear and obvious to me isn't clear and obvious to everyone else. And
that's literally what it was brought in to do, wasn't it? It was to help the clear and obvious. But when something like Mwepu not even touching their ball isn't obvious or clear, so I did. Yeah,
and it's gone to the point, right, where I've always backed the decisions in VAR just on the basis of it's not VAR, it's not the technology, it's the people using it. But I've heard that a stupid amount of times since 2019 now, and since doing this podcast as well. It actually hurts my ears to hear that phrase now. And I've now just thought, if we're going to really keep complaining about the officials who don't make the big stage, don't make Champions League, don't make the World Cup, don't make the Euros, because they're not good enough to do it. You have to get the Italians or the Spanish or whoever there is, the big referees in Europe, to take over, because the British ones have too much of an ego to even consider anyone else's opinions. And again, we've got the same situation of it's not the VAR, it's the officials. But at what point do we just decide this is just getting absolutely out of hand now? You've taken away, even McAllister's own opinion, a goal that he's never probably likely to score again. It's one of the best shots he's ever struck in his life. And he's now had it taken away over a fraction of a centimetre of a decimal point of a fraction of an offside on Mwepu who didn't even touch
I don't think they ever will overhaul it, because I feel like all the referees in their association, they all train at the same base, don't they? I feel like they're all friendly to it. They're obviously all mates, and even the higher ups, probably ex-refs that they used to work with. So it's a bit of like a mafia of referees that you got.
So do they have their little group of friends in the little referee friendship groups?
Well, they do.
All of the Premier League hate them. So
Do you remember
it's
seeing?
almost like an us
Do you
and
remember
them,
seeing
isn't it?
Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher do that? They done that like fun episode where they like went to go and train like a referee and things like that. Do you not remember seeing that?
Yeah,
They
didn't
all. I
watch
think
it,
they
but I
all.
remember
They all
them
train
doing
at
it.
St George's Park. I think it's called. Where in England training. That's where they all do their. So all they are during the week, like training and all that sort of stuff, keeping up fitness and that. So they're all together all the time. So it's not
Yeah.
like you could just like overhaul it unless the FA just done something radical or the Premier League done something radical and done that.
But I just can't. The thing is, I think there's too much money in it now for them to make a crazy decision like that.
They're
put
they're
too
almost
much
characters
investment
in our Premier League Super League that we've got now. There you got the Paul Tierney's and you got like, obviously you used to have the Mike Deans. They are kind of like the characters of like who are we going to get this weekend? Please don't be Anthony Taylor and all that shit. It's kind of become like the part of the
But
drama.
it's not even please don't be Anthony Taylor anymore. It's please don't be any of them.
Anyone,
because
yeah.
I didn't even know this Harrington bloke really, to be honest with you. And I mean to
Is this
call
the
that
Australian
decision.
bloke?
Yeah, I don't know the one we had yesterday.
So he was meant to. I don't know who. No, we had Paul. No, we didn't.
I thought it was the
yesterday.
Harrington.
I
Something
don't know.
Harrington.
Let me
I just
look.
remember the name. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get the decisions that some of these referees make. I just don't know how long it is until there really is some serious questions asked, because this is probably one of the worst we've seen VAR. And then not even just against this. If this was if this was against this, I would be saying exactly the same thing as we have done over the years. I don't care if it's helped us out. I don't care if it's saved us at times. They're giving us a penalty. I mean, that penalty would have been given anyway on Trossard. But we'll move on anyway from VAR. We'll actually move on to that.
Let's
Trossard
talk about
moment.
that. Yeah, that skill was so good, and yeah, he had a DD on strings, and I think it just you could knew it was going to be a penalty. He was literally grappling him for ages, and then as soon as Trossard got into the box, and yeah, he just went down straight away just to make sure he would get the penalty. And yeah, that kind of epitomised the second half, didn't it? Like we were just taking the piss at one point, and Leicester just and Didi, who used to be one of the best defensive midfielders in the league, looked like an absolute mug in front of the Amex.
Centre half at the best of times, doesn't he? I mean,
their defence has been woeful recently. I think they've got a few issues. Like even Soyuncu he was the big Harry Maguire replacement. He's off to Turkey. Apparently, he's going to be signing for Galatasaray or something like that. Like I don't know what's happening at Leicester, but their defence is a shambles.
Completely capitulated. And this is what I said on the podcast last time. Actually, you said that I have a lot of respect for Leicester. I said, yeah, but it's almost like a system that's just gone stale. And funnily enough, I think someone said it after me. I think it was like Roy Keane or something said it like the day after I said it, and I was like, waves. But they
haven't changed for 3 years, have they?
They know that it's probably even more than 3 years. They say that it feels like they're still stuck in the past. And Brighton are really good at being progressive. We can move on very quickly, as you see. And we lost Kukure. We only signed last year, Basuma, and Ben White the year before that. So Neil Maupay, right. Yeah. We've lost a lot of players, but we move on. I think the only one we didn't move on from a long time was Glenn Murray and Anthony Knockaert, but that was pre-Potter anyway. Yeah. And we moved on quickly. I mean, we've gone through a lot of stages in a short space of time. I'd say over the last 5 years, we probably had a good 5 phases of different things in Brighton's recent history. But we're good at moving on and good at looking past the past, if you like. And it seems like Leicester just can't do that. They're still stuck in 2016. I mean, they've got their fans literally still singing Champions of England. You'll never sing that. You just think, God's sake, mate, that was like 6 years ago. Who cares? No one cares anymore. Do it again. So I don't know. There's Leicester's problems are problems, right? But our future is very bright.
We haven't got those problems.
Very bright. I think that Leandro Trossard was excellent. He really was excellent. He the second half particularly, he was absolutely on fire. He had his skills coming out. As you said, that skill move that he did to win that penalty. And I was happy for McAllister because a part of me was like, oh God, I hope he hasn't got in the back of his head.
Yeah,
there's goal being disallowed and then blow it. But he took it very calmly and put it straight down the middle. I think it's his 3rd penalty in a row now he's scored. We finally got a set piece taken, Ben.
And we've had a lot of penalties recently because we went from not ever getting penalties to we've had quite a lot recently. It just shows how
we're causing problems.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. We get into the box quite more often than not now. Like we don't just pass it around the back. We used to just pass around the back and never really get into the box. But now we're actually really pushing and driving into the box now with a lot more directness rather than
just like the casual passing.
Which is great to see. We've kind of wanted that under Potter. It got to a point where it was very much just passing around.
That 2020 season,
it's very now it's just a lot more direct, a lot more pace in the team, and it's proven a problem for a lot of them. And like you said, McAllister, we've got a set piece, we've got a penalty taken now. We had so many issues with that in the past, but yeah, I'm glad that we finally got one.
And you can trust him as well. I mean, Alexis, you look at him and you think he's going to score. And I think there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to score yesterday. I was hoping that he didn't have that VAR over check, get in his head, but he didn't. He took it really well. Did well at Fulham as well. Did well at West Ham.
Is that? Yeah, I was going to say we've got like 3 penalties in the past 4 games now, haven't we?
He's got 4 goals this season, all from set pieces. Yeah. I mean, he's done fantastically well. Yeah. As I say, in that deeper role, he's been excellent, and he was a massive figure yesterday.
Do you see that scouted ballers tweet? It was like our squad compared to Leicester. Yeah, compared to Leicester's, it was so sick. Like, it's where we got all our players from. And you're thinking, how are all of these players been put together and playing in the Premier League at this level? Like, it's sensational. Like, it just proves what we're doing as a club.
It goes to show that signing these wonder kids does work as well.
Yeah,
I think. And what to me is it was when we came back to 2-1 and Caicedo scored. I think it was within like 16, 17 minutes, so it was quite quick. And what was quite impressive to me anyway was I felt a bit like the ego that like Man City feel. Like, we're back where we belong now. We're 2-1 up. We weren't 1-0 down, but it doesn't matter because we're 2-1 up very quickly again. And even when we went 2-2, I thought we were still going to hit them for a couple because they were just really bad.
I thought that game was going to end with 8 goals each, or maybe just maybe 10 goals in the game, and we would have more. But it was kind of an end to end. Like the defenses weren't doing too well, but obviously
Ben, do you not agree that like almost arrogance now? If a team
I wasn't worried.
Play at the Amex,
I wasn't worried. I felt like we were going to score again, didn't we? I felt we were going to score again. There was no issues with that. We were constantly causing them issues in defence. And making them.
And I know that Leeds lost 5-2 to Brentford the other day, but when they came to the Amex last week or the week before, but when they came to the Amex the week before, they were the team in form. They were the ones to beat. They were unbeaten in so many games. They were doing very well. Jesse Marsh was being talked about as the great man, and now he's all of a sudden a laughing stock really as to how much he loses his head. And
he got sent off again, didn't he?
Yeah, he got sent off. He's an absolute idiot. The thing is, the Leeds fans will love it because he's Leeds, but everyone else just is laughing at him. I mean, all of the Brighton, I'm sure Brentford fans were laughing at him as well. I'm sure you saw that Brentford tweet. The guy's an idiot. He's an absolute clown.
Oh, I haven't seen it. What did they do? Was it their main account?
Oh, it's really funny. Their main Twitter, they got like 100,000 likes, something ridiculous on it, saying that he's going to be watching the rest of the game from the stands, but he's been watching it from like halfway outside his box or something like that. But it's just funny because he's just a complete clown. I don't know how long it will take Leeds fans to realise it. I'm sure it will hit home quite soon if they keep losing 5-2. But my point is, they were the team in form. They come to the Amex and we expected to still win despite them being the form team. I know we had a blip against Fulham, but we played against Leicester. They were the team out of form and we still whitewashed them.
Yeah, that was kind of... I predicted 1-1 and obviously it's 1-1 after what was it?
I said we put a few past them, Ben. I said we put a few past them. I knew that their defence was poor.
Yeah, but I thought we were. I'm stuck in the past of thinking it'll be classic Brighton breaking ducks. But I've maybe not think like that anymore, and I just got to think, no, we are a very good team now. Yeah, we are a very good team now. We can do that. And, okay, from this moment forward, I'll stop thinking in the past about us breaking everyone's ducks, and we're a different team now. We are. Yes,
move on. But what's impressive to me, as I say, is that arrogance. And anyway, getting on to 4-2 then, because there's another goal to
which
talk
one was
about
that
in this game. Yeah, which one was that actually? I mean, we had McAllister scored 3.
No, it was Trossard's goal. We haven't spoken about Trossard's goal yet.
Trossard's goal was
very similar to Caicedo's, but obviously the other side of the pitch from a different angle, and it was a great finish with it. It's a great finish with his weaker foot, and Pascal Gross assist, wasn't it? I was surprised.
Gross put the ball forward with his outside of his foot. It was a great ball. Really well weighted.
Yeah, such a good finish. And again, Danny Ward, no chance into the opposite. So, I don't know if it's just the keeper or our finishing was good. Maybe a bit of both. But it was such a good finish. And Trossard is on absolute flames, like most of our players are this year.
Mate, I think Solly March had a similar chance not long after. It was put through. And
Solly
he
did.
Sort of went near post. He could have gone across again because it seemed like that cross shot seemed to be.
He had a few chances yesterday, Solly, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah,
one day, Solly, you'll get a goal.
I do worry about Solly's conversion rate, but anyway, not the point. So Trossard's goal was fantastic. As I say, I love that celebration where he goes up to the North Stand like this, and everyone now in the crowd sort of does this as well. It's great. I think it's great. And then he sort of stands there like he's the man, and he is the man at the moment. He is.
I think really the outsiders think that Trossard's the man. They just think that he's the guy, that he's our best player. I know Statman Dave loves him. And I'm worried that this narrative is going to be like he's the main focal point, and maybe
But that's
would you reckon,
fine though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but is he going to be the next guy that's going to be offloaded? It feels that way. Or unless Alexis McAllister carries on like this.
Yeah. I mean, I think that though the thing is with Trossard that people will always look at the tricky winger or the tricky forward. People will always see the skills and you know his compilation of skills is probably going to be quite good.
Which is why Lewis Dunk's never left, because no one really goes. Yeah. No one goes on YouTube and types in Lewis Dunk highlights 2021, 22
blocks. Blocks of 2022.
Brazil scout Lewis Dunk does that.
So yeah, I can see why he would be called a talisman. And to be honest with you, he's probably he's earning the right definitely to be called that. I think he's got now 20 goals for us. Don't know how many of them in the Premier League, but he's probably pushing that Neil Maupay record and could even break it this season with the form he's on, with the amount of goals he seems to be scoring. But then I want to talk about the goal of the day, which did stand for Alexis McAllister. His final third goal to seal the hat-trick was a perfect free kick. It was about 25-30 yards out, hit it so sweetly, straight into where he needed it to go, on the other side of that goal, where the keeper wasn't. Got it over the wall, inch perfectly. Ben, talk to me about
exactly like Ryan Harley. Like you posted this morning, you posted that Ryan Harley free kick. It was literally like, it was like for like, wasn't it? That free kick, I remember seeing that free kick. Yeah, that was unbelievable. Yeah. Honestly, my living room went off when that goal went in. I'm probably the only Brighton fan in there. I know my auntie's a Brighton fan, but there must have been about 16 of us in there. But everyone went ballistic. Even the people, my family members that don't like football. Yeah. Everyone was going mental. It was so good. Yeah. And it just capped off an insane performance from him. And like you said, like when is he going to get the recognition he deserves? He's starting to get it, Alexis, but like he has been phenomenal, and I know he's playing a deeper role, and he's still just surprising us every single week with his ability. He's
like a deep line playmaker, isn't he? On Football Manager, I mean, he's playing so deep, but then can also come forward and have the same impact, if not better impact, than he was before when he was playing that pure number 10. Because it felt like almost in number 10 he was, like a bit of a roaming player, but didn't probably get enough.
He doesn't get in the ball as much
chances. Whereas now he's the focal point of our midfield. He's on the ball more than anyone, pretty much. I don't know if that's a stat, but I'm sure it probably is. On set pieces, he's the man, and he's taken it so well. He really has taken that role so well. He's become the man, and he deserves it. I think that he's worked hard for it. He's only 23 years old. He's gone about this the hard way. That's what we've got to remember. We loaned him out. I think we loaned him out again. He's gone a couple of loans. He's come back. We paid money to recall him from the loan. We broke the loan. I think we had to bid with Boca Juniors just to recall him back, which was a crazy experience in itself. And I think when a team does that, especially with Ashworth at the time, Potter, etc., that the player's going to be good. But when they want to buy him back, when he's your own player,
it's just crazy how much patience they've had. Obviously, and this is part of what the club do now. They have patience with these players. Like maybe in 4 or 5 years' time, we'll be talking about Enciso like this. We'll be saying that how unbelievable he is and how he's the focal point on our team. But Alexis went from being compared to Percy Tau being a lone flop to now being the focal point of our team. It literally feels like the team's kind of building around him now, which is
him and
something
Gross.
Him and Gross, but something that I wouldn't have seen coming at all. It's caught me by surprise at how good he's gone. I thought he kind of plateaued a bit, but he just keeps getting better.
I'm sure you boys will remember how much I used to fanboy over him last season, and even the season
very
before.
Easy to. He's like a cult hero, isn't he? When you got that Argentinian lad that looks like that.
I just think that watching him from, you've been up in that West Upper now, and seeing that midfielder, and just watching how much space he seems to have. It's almost like you have the match of the day circle around him the entire game, and he's got that
match of the day circle.
He's got that 2 yards around him, 3 yards around him, 5 yards around him at all times, and he's sort of drifting around and just doing his own thing. Gets the ball, makes a perfect pass, does it again, and he has such a great range of passing ability, such a great range of shooting ability. Very good on the turn, very good in a tackle as well now, which is really good to see. High energy, high intensity, just all round a very, very, very good player that's only going to get better now. These midfielders go on for a long time. We've seen that Luka Modric, etc. These players only get better with age. Pascal Gross is our example. That's actually led me on quite nicely to Pascal Gross, Dale Stevens. But let's talk about Pascal Gross, Ben, because another fantastic performance from our German man. He's He's just so good. He really.
Well,
he
did. Good. He just kind of went under the radar a little bit yesterday. I know he still got an assist, but obviously we expect more. We expect goals from Pascal now, but obviously he wasn't the bright spark in the team because everyone played so well, and maybe Alexis might have outshone him a bit. But yeah, once again, he's dropped another brilliant performance for us, and what an absolute bargain! Like signed a bloke from Ingolstadt, or was they Bundesliga?
Ingolstadt,
Bundesliga 2 team or Bundesliga. I think they got relegated when we signed him, and now he's like the assist king behind Kevin De Bruyne for us. Basically, it is insane.
Him and Caicedo and Wepu. I think there's just the balance in that midfield so strong, and I think now we've got Gilmore as well. You know, you've got another.
Yeah, where's he fit in? He fits in. We kind of spoke about this on the live that we did. If you didn't see that, it was entertaining.
Strange
one. Strange one. Yeah, it's bonkers. But yeah, I guess he fills in for that Alexis role, doesn't he? But I bet he's probably sat on the bench there thinking, right. Well, that's me assuming because what I've seen of Billy Gilmore, that's where I think he would fit in. I can't imagine him doing the Mwepu role as almost like that random striker or Caicedo box to box. I mean, he probably could do a box to box role. I think he could be
box to box, because he's quite small, isn't he? He's quite agile. Yeah. He's good in his tackle, as we've seen.
But straight away, you think Alexis, that would be like that kind of straight swap there, wouldn't you?
Or even plays with him. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a double pivot. I don't think that that Potter would be shy of it either, especially in the big games. You know, if we're playing against some title contenders like us in a big title charge against. I don't know, Manchester United,
European
Arsenal.
Chasers. Yeah,
but yeah,
we already beat them 2-1. That's fine.
Already beat Manchester United. Arsenal are actually the team to beat at the moment. I know they lost to United, but I do fear them a bit, to be fair.
Yeah, they still played well.
Yeah, they did play well. But yeah, Brighton all round. Just cap off that game, Ben, with how brilliant. Who is your standout? Because there's so many man of the matches to choose from. Caicedo was brilliant. He wasn't even really mentioned properly. Absolutely energetic, all over the place. Got a massive standing ovation when he came off, and rightfully so. Solly Martins was good. I think he did get the stadium man of the match. Probably not my man of the match. I would have given it to probably Alexis or Caicedo.
Not just because of the goals, but obviously the goals help. I think my man of the match would have been Alexis, but I can see why they gave it to Solly. And everyone, I think I said it last year that he was going to be my one to watch. Solly was going to be my most improved player, and he's still proving me right.
He's doing well.
Yeah. He's keeping Tarek Lamptey out of the team, isn't he? At the end of the day. My main guy yesterday, Alexis McAllister, hands down.
Alexis,
it's a shame that obviously that hat trick didn't happen, but he deserved it massively.
He'll get one. I reckon he'll get a hat trick. He's got it in him. He scored 2 braces now for us already.
He could be looking at breaking Mope's Premier League record at this rate. I mean, even Trossard could this year if we carry on how we're going, and especially if Alexis on set pieces like that.
He's added to his game with goals, which is I think what he needed to put himself on the map. He, being put on these set pieces, which I think we've said it for ages. Why isn't he on set pieces? Because he scored 3 kicks for Boca Juniors. He was clearly a very talented player. Maybe it was just a pressure thing. Don't want to put him on too soon. But even Cucurella, for example, he's gone to Chelsea, now takes their corners.
Yeah, what the fuck's that all about?
We didn't ever put him on corners. We always had Gross or March, which was a strange one when March. As great as he has been,
and they both have to sound over
put a good corner in. Yeah, and he's never been able to put a decent corner in March, at least very rarely. Gross is quite good at them, but the left-footed is quite nice on it, which I didn't understand why Cucurella never was on it. But at least McAllister now finally is on these set pieces because he could really rack up his numbers with goals and assists, which will, maybe not to people like us who actually watch him, and even people, analysts who watch the game and understand how good he is. It's more to the outsiders now. We'll see McAllister as the go-to number 10 that people can recognise. But Ben,
even if he does, I was just going to say, obviously we got these unbelievable players that we're having now, and then they get spoken about by the bigger clubs, and then sometimes they leave. Let's say if Alexis McAllister has an unbelievable season, ends up leaving, I feel like just looking at Basuma and Cucurella. If they're not in Potter's system, they don't play as well. And apparently Basuma was awful against West Ham.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yes, obviously the player has to do what the player does.
Didn't even play.
But it's also against West Ham he did. No, against West Ham he did,
yeah.
Oh, the last game.
Against who are they against? Fulham.
I can't remember.
I don't think he came on.
No, he didn't play actually. Yeah, but against West Ham, my Spurs mates are saying that he's awful. And I feel like obviously, yes, the player's good, but in Potter's system it works really well. So I'm just like. And maybe Cucurella's obviously had a few decent performances for Chelsea, but also drops a few clangers as well. Now
he's terrible last time out, wasn't he?
Chelsea fans want Chilwell to come back in instead of Cucurella. I just feel like a lot of it is down to the system that they play in and the roles that they're playing in Potter's system. It's not just the player. So, I mean, it might look sunny and brighter and more money on the other side, but if you're not in Potter's system, you're not doing...
Yeah. I think the one bit of credit we can always give is Ben White's done really well. But then I almost see Arteta as quite similar to Potter anyway in how he plays. It's quite fluid and modern.
Centre-back's a centre-back at the end of the day, but I feel like you could have a lot more roles as a midfielder. And I feel like if Alexis was then thrown into another team, it just might not work.
McAllister went to like an Arsenal or something. You could see that move coming maybe.
Yeah.
But as long as he's here at the minute, I don't want to tempt fate because I really want him to stay.
The point I was trying to make is like, yes, it's down to the player, but also I just think because of the way Brighton's team are playing, that helps. That makes the player look a lot better as well. That Potter's got them playing unbelievable and so well drilled.
Yeah, so well drilled, so well organised. The structure is fantastic. The fluid of the team it is unbelievable to watch. It's just perfect, really, all round. It's so balanced and so well worked. I think the hard work that goes in on training. You can tell that these players put so much into it. You're watching that team and you can see how hard these players work to stay in that positioning. We play so many teams so far, probably since February, March, when we came out of that bad run, and we've just evolved into a next beast. Really, we've mentioned Kukurea and Basuma going out. You see Basuma at Tottenham. Conte's come out and said that Basuma's behind Højbjerg. He's behind Bentancur, which is hilarious, really, to look back on because it goes to just show how well drilled that team is from Potter.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter who we seem to get rid of. We just keep seeming
that's
getting
a great
better.
point. Yeah.
And I don't care how Basuma or Kukurea does. I don't care if they do well, if they flop. It doesn't bother me, to be honest with you, because we've got our money. That's all I really care about. We move on from them. I quite like Ben White to do well, just because he seemed a bit more attached to us, whereas the other two just seem to just move on, and that's fine. But yeah, we're just very good, to be honest. To put it that way, it's just brilliant, as I said yesterday. Unless there's anything else, Ben, you want to add? There's probably a few talking points that I've missed. But I think that's just about everything from the game.
No, I don't think so. Maybe we can quickly talk about. I know we touched on it. Alzate was meant to be going, wasn't he? Meant to go to West Brom.
Broke down, I believe.
Broke down.
Too late.
Now, which is obviously probably we tried to get rid of him on loan because we were bringing in Billy Gilmore. Nader said that there's a potential that he could. What day is it today?
Abroad, right?
Is it September 3rd today? Whereas we're filming, or is it
5th?
Oh well, I think when's the loan end for the European clubs? I feel like it's still open for them. I don't know. But yeah, apparently Naylor said there might be an opportunity that he goes abroad, isn't there? Which I know it's a shame for Alzate because I feel like he really, really needed to get some first team football this year. I think some people thought he was going to break into the team, didn't they? But obviously, it's a bit. Yeah, I'm really happy with Billy Gilmore signing. He's such a good signing, and I think he will do really well under Potter. But it does leave question marks over Alzate's future. I mean, even Yakamoda when he comes back. We've just got that. We've talked about it before, but that depth in midfield is insane. And when we've got a fully fit midfield, it's going to be tough to get in that team. And we might see some faces that we didn't expect to leave end up leaving permanently, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and Alzate might be one of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, might be right. I hope it's not the case, and somehow he fits in. But yeah, unfortunately, with that team, it is just so good now, and it just seems to be getting better. I think if he wasn't going to get his chance now, then with Basuma going, obviously, it might be a tougher one. But you never know. It's a long season, right? It's a really long season. You look back on the podcasts from say September last year to March this year. Within one season,
was at Bereshit. Caicedo was at bottom of the league Belgium team, and now he's one of the best midfielders in the league.
And so much can change in this season. So much will change. I'm sure in 6 months' time we're going to look back on this and we'll be thinking, "My God, I disagree completely with what I was saying here." But that's the fun of being a football fan. People will always.
We need to enjoy the fun times right now. And because we might have a rut at some point this season and do like another 11 games without a
hopefully
win.
Not that bad.
Yeah, hopefully not that bad because that really did affect us. Like we finished last year off 2 points off Europa Conference League. Like imagine if we just got an extra couple points from
period,
that. Yeah, 2 stupid periods. Yeah, it would have been a bit different. But hopefully this year we will be getting Europe, especially if we beat Bournemouth. So do you want to go to Bournemouth?
Yeah, let's talk about Bournemouth. I forgot actually we're playing Bournemouth. I'll be in Toronto, so I'll be seeing that game at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is going to be really strange.
I'd love that. Going to a sports bar to watch it.
Yeah,
because you'll be able to watch. I know it's because it's 3 o'clock in it, but they obviously don't have the license.
Yeah, but it's in Canada. Are they gonna have?
No, you can still watch it. I'm pretty sure.
That?
Yeah, they have like
if that's the case,
that sort of stuff. So
if that's the case, I'll definitely be watching it in some random pub or cafe or whatever there is around Toronto where I'm staying. I don't actually know where
have you even tried like messaging any like Canadian Brighton fans? There must be some.
This is my reach out here. I can try now.
So obviously we got stateside Seagulls. Just say like Toronto Seagulls or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
If there's a Toronto-based Brighton fan who is watching this by some miracle, message me if there's any.
Or you know of one.
Yeah, or if you know of one, message me. Actually, do it because I will reply, and I do need some advice on where to watch games or how to watch games and etc. And also maybe meet up in Toronto. You never know. But yeah, anyway, Ben, Bournemouth should be beating teams like Bournemouth, shouldn't we?
Don't say that. Okay. By the way, if you're a Bournemouth fan, you're watching that. That's a joke because we get called teams like Brighton. All right, don't get offended. But we say that they came back unbelievably against Nottingham Forest.
They did.
Away.
Scott Parker.
Yeah, sat the cardigan merchant, unfortunately, and which was a bit harsh, wasn't it? Let's be honest. We could talk about Bournemouth and that sacking. They had a very, very, very tough start, and then he got sacked. Like, what were they expecting? I think maybe it must have been down to a falling out. I think Scott Parker had a falling out with the chairman because they hadn't been backed.
Yeah, didn't he say something in the media, something like that?
Did he? But I remember, was it last summer when they were just going into the first season back in the Championship, there was that rumour going around that they had to spend a lot of money just to get back up, because if they didn't get back to the Premier League, they would have been a bit in trouble financially if they didn't get promoted again. So they got promoted again, spent a lot of money, and now maybe they don't have that money to spend again in the actual Premier League itself. So it's a bit of a strange one. And like, you look at their team, and we should be beating it. We should be comfortably beating it, unfortunately. Like, you've got Keith, that picture of their team that played against Liverpool, Kiefer Moore up front, Ryan Christie, that Anthony guy, and Marcus Tavernier, who they signed from Middlesbrough. You just look at that. It's not. I know this sounds very big-headed, but it's not a Premier League team. And like, I do feel bad for Bournemouth fans because they've got promoted to the Premier League, and it just does not look good, bruv, for them. No. It really doesn't.
And Scott said, didn't they? Scott Parker said that was what he said. They're not equipped to this level, which isn't even wrong to say. They're not equipped to this level. Maybe they'll beat us because we've said this now. We've tempted fate. They probably will. Because last time out of Fulham, it was not a great showing. But then again, Fulham have been very good this season. Yeah. So yes, they had a very impressive comeback against Forest, who were 2-0 up and obviously inevitably bottled it 3-2. But we'll see. I think we should be beating them, really. We've proven that we can comfortably beat teams worse than us, i.e. Leicester yesterday. And I think that we should continue that, really, to be honest. We should look at this team. We should think we should be winning this game. Because we need to have that attitude now. If we want to improve, we can't be the Brighton of old where we look at it and we're like, anything's a bonus away from home. No, it's not. We need to go there and we need to win, because we need to be pushing for that Europa League. We need to be pushing for whatever we can achieve this season that's better than last, because we need to look up, right? We can't be consolidating. I think we've set the bar so high this season, and we've gone bold as well in the transfer market. I think the way we've done the transfer market, it almost says to me that there is the added pressure on midfield and attack. And it goes to show to me that if we've been told to trust the process, then I'm trusting the process. I'm saying we have to go to Bournemouth and we have to win. And I want us to win 2-0.
I'm trying to do it. Yeah, I mean, it seems doable. And
The bar's high now, Ben.
5 minutes ago, did I say that Bournemouth drew because they actually beat Forest, didn't they? They came back and actually won.
3-2. They won 3-2.
Yeah. I don't know if I said 3-3, but
it's all right.
I've got a cold. If you've just tuned in, I've got a cold. Cold break.
He's got mad.
But yeah, they got their first win of the year, first win of the season. Feels like a year probably for them after losing 9-0 to Liverpool. And they looked a bit tasty. I know there's a few clangers from the Nottingham Forest centre-back McKenna who is not fit for the league, but that's a conversation for another day when we play Forest.
He started all right, didn't he, against West Ham, and then sort of just... just Declan McKenna's not doing it.
So let's talk about the opening games. Obviously, lost to City away, which is inevitable. Let's be honest. Lost at home 3-0 to Arsenal. Drew 2-2 in the Carabao Cup with Norwich. I don't know if they went through after that. Then lost, and then lost 9-0 to Liverpool, of course, which is a bit of that would have been horrendous. Imagine sitting through that.
Goal difference, to be fair.
And then maybe a goal difference. God, it gets better. Wolves 0-0 at home. That would have been a good. It's not too bad, but obviously Wolves haven't been great either.
I mean, they didn't lose,
and they didn't lose. That's true. They got a point. their first point of this Premier League season, and then now they should be on 4 points because they beat Forest away, which is a great result. And against the Forest team that signed 24 players this summer, it's not a bad result. And are they on a turnaround? And are we about to get beaten?
Okay, well, let's put it this way.
I know you said 2-0. Yes. But and on the day, you just never know with football, and that's why we love this sport. It's just, they'll be going back to the Vitality Stadium, of course.
Yeah.
After a big away win, the spirits will be much higher than they were a few weeks ago when they.
I'm sure they are.
Got sacked their manager.
But we need to be going there, Ben, and we need to be winning that game. We need to go there and dominate at least, create a lot of chances. This is the Brighton team now.
We will dominate. We will dominate. And their defence, surely we'll be too much for their defence if we start Danny Welbeck. Potter surely has learnt his lesson of not starting Danny Welbeck. Look how much better we are when we start that bloke on the pitch.
Yeah, no, he needs to start. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised maybe we throw Indev into the mix because he didn't look too bad when he came on. Was a little bit heavy at times. He
kept like trying to shoulder barge people, and then he was getting shoved off the ball. He kept trying to use his strength, but it wasn't.
Body too much. Yeah. It was a bit like not now.
Yeah,
he almost went for a foul at one point, and I was a bit like, "What are you doing?" But overall, he looked like he was getting into the right spaces. You could tell he really wanted a goal, right? You could tell he was desperate for a goal, trying to get himself in the positions.
He just hasn't had enough time yet, has he? Really, let's be honest.
No. So I hope he does even potentially get a surprise start because it is away from home. It is a different game. It is at a team that's different to us and different to what we've played so far. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us even go for potentially a 2 up top. Danny Welbeck and Ndav combining. You never know. The reality says it probably won't happen. I don't think Solly March or anything has done enough to get dropped. So we probably won't do that. But it's a potential. It is Graham Potter we're talking about here. But I expect us to go there and win. And I as I say, I'll stick with my 2-0. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe 2-0. I don't know if they'll score a goal. Obviously, Solanke, I think he got his first goal of the season. It was like a bicycle kick that took a little deflection off McKenna, who we spoke about. Could he cause Duncan, Webster and Veltman trouble? Maybe. We saw Mitchell. I know he's not really on Mitrovic's level. He looks on Mitrovic's level last year in the Championship because obviously Solanke had a really, really good season. But it depends if he wants to start doing that in the Premier League.
If we had Jack on right now, he would be absolutely raving at Solanke's.
Oh yeah, it's such a shame we didn't have Jack.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are new, and there's only 2 of us recording, this is very rare.
Loves Dominic Solanke.
Maz is currently travelling back from the Dutch Grand Prix, and yeah, Jack is sorting out the trains for the Palace match, which is a conversation for another day, because there is none. There is no trains for the Palace game because there's strikes, which is peak. So hopefully he's going to sort some out there. But yeah, Solanke. Lerma's another player. He's one of them players that you hate to play against because he's a rat, but when he's on your team, he causes a lot of trouble for the opposition, and he's kind of one of them guys you love. But he's like an Ander Herrera, or who do we used to have that we could kind of compare him to? Obviously, we've had our fair few shit houses, but he's one of their main shit houses.
Right. Okay. But no.
Lewis
anyway, what's your score prediction?
Like him?
I don't care about
score
their team. They're trash.
No, we're trying to analyse their team a little bit, but no. And then randomly Neto in goal, the former Barcelona keeper, funny enough. Obviously, Travers got dropped because he started them. He used to start for them, and now he's been dropped.
Well, what's your prediction, Ben?
Score prediction. Sorry, yeah. I'm gonna go bold and say 3-0 Brighton.
What prediction for the first time? You're being positive in a while. Actually, I'm rating that. Yeah, 3-0. Okay, I like that. Do you know what? I might even back you on that. I might raise my 2 to a 3. Because I just think we're very good, mate. And I said last time we'll put a few past Leicester. That defence is really bad. I know that Bournemouth are on a new manager bounce, and they've probably reacted to that against Forest. They've had their moment. I just don't think that to compare us to Forest anyway. We're much better. And I'm going to say, yeah, we're very well drilled. We'll go there. We should dominate the game as long as we don't do something silly and go for a tactical false 9, which will end up not working and shooting ourselves in the foot. I hope that Potter just sticks to his guns, does what he knows, stays safe with it, and goes for a team that's going to win this game, because I think they will. So yeah, I'll back your 3-0 actually, to be fair. I might just go for a 3 as well. I was going to mention one thing just before we go off. I want to just get a very, very straight, blunt answer, a bit like how Maz did those quick-fire questions, but a very straight answer on VAR, right? No ifs, buts and maybes, just a yes or no. VAR, in or out?
In.
You're still in. Okay. One more question on VAR. Would you be inclined to allow it to have a break, let them almost revamp it a little bit, change things, maybe sack some officials, maybe bring some new officials in, maybe go for some foreign referees even, or officiating. But would you be in favour of it having a break, having a moment to change it, go for a few weeks without it, come back with an updated VAR because it's clearly not working? Would you be in favour of that?
I can't answer this in yes or no because there's a lot of...
No, this isn't a yes or no. This is just a question.
I would say yes to a complete overhaul of who runs it for sure, but I don't think you could do that during the season because it would be deemed unfair. You need it to be very, very consistent and have it the whole season. Maybe next summer you would have to have a massive overhaul. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it during the World Cup break either because again, it would be unfair because you're playing other teams and that sort of thing. You have to do it before the start of the season.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hopefully,
I feel like actually the World Cup could be a good point of them changing it around a little bit, maybe.
Changing officials,
yeah, that could be quite a good point. But yes, that's about it. Comments.
What about you though? Sorry, go on, Ryan. Are you're in or out? I know it's easy to say out after the weekend we've had a VAR because it has been absolute shambolic.
Mate, you know I'm always VAR out. I've always been VAR out. I've gone to games all my life. I've got a season ticket, go every single week. The inconsistency is unbelievable. I don't get to see what's going on. I can only tell you from a fan's perspective that goes to every single game that I am wholeheartedly VAR out. I don't see the benefit in it anymore because it hasn't been used properly. It hasn't been used properly in 3 years.
And even that one, the Cresswell one, you know, when they take like 5.5 minutes to when Harry Maguire headed it, and then they kind of brushed.
There needs to be a time cap. There needs to be an overhaul on officials. There needs to be, the whole thing's wrong, and it's corrupting itself anyway. You saw the Chelsea thing. You're telling me that's not corruption?
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, the whole thing is corruption, mate. And I think that it was brought in to avoid all of that stuff. We've actually made it worse because it goes to show that it's not human error anymore. It's just blatant rubbish.
It's just asking more questions, if anything.
It's asking more questions.
It's there to just stop.
It's caused too many problems, and it's done more bad than it's done good. It's not helped anything. It's not.
It had a good run. It had a good run, and now recently it's just had a few clangers this season.
It's gone completely downhill, and for me, it's out. As I say, you don't get to see it in the stadiums. Luckily for my season ticket, I get to see it over. So I was watching the media team, which, by the way, Bruno was down there, which was quite funny. But yeah, out for me, 100%. Okay. In fact, that's the comments below. In or out of VAR? I want to know.
Yeah.
Are you VAR in or are you VAR out? Comment in that comments below. Ben, anything else to add in this podcast?
We're going to Europe next year.
There you go. That'll do. Thank you all for watching, and I agree with what Ben's saying. I'll see you all probably after Bournemouth, right? If I can get a place to film in. If not, I'm sure it'll be Jack on Maz and Ben on this podcast. But yes, thank you all for watching. Please keep streaming if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and do that comment below. Tell us if you are VAR in or out. And we'll see you after we've beaten the Cherries at the Vitality. We'll see you next time.
Peace.